I know it may sound like a strange combination, but trust me when I tell you that my lemon and Italian cheese pizza is outrageously delectable. The tangy, paper-thin slices of citrus pair perfectly with melted piave and Fontina cheeses. The dough is simple, a basic pizza crust dough. We first proof 1 package of active dry yeast in 2 cups of warm water. And the water should be no warmer than 115 degrees. And we want it to become like this, dissolved, and you want to see a little bit of action on the top of the water, little tiny bubbles. That way you know the yeast is alive. Let this one sit for about 5 minutes. In a large bowl, we have 3 cups of all-purpose flour, and to that we're going to add 2 teaspoons of fine sea salt. Stir that up, and then you can make a well if you want, or whatever way you're going to incorporate all this yeasty water into all that flour. It's going to be very, very wet. And by making a well, you can gradually add the flour, the dry to the wet. I'm using a good sturdy wooden spoon to help mix. And because it's so wet, you're going to add up to 2 additional cups of flour to this dough. So now you can start adding. The first cup, just sprinkle it on. You don't have to dump it all in. Now you can, of course, make this in the stand mixer fitted with a dough hook. It'll save what my dad always called that elbow grease. But it's kind of fun to make pizza dough and use your arm muscles. And again, the addition of the flour, sometimes it'll take all 2 cups. Sometimes you'll need a little bit more depending on the day. And you can put some of the extra flour right here on your counter. Pull up your sleeves and get ready to knead. And it helps to use a pastry scraper whenever you're kneading dough. This will lift the dough and allow you to make those initial folds. And it might take up to 10 minutes to get this into a nice, smooth ball of dough. And have a large bowl ready with some olive oil in the bowl, and that will be the rising bowl. Coat the entire surface with oil, and then cover with plastic wrap, and let it rise in a warm place until double in volume, approximately 3 hours. So here's our dough, doubled in bulk. And there's no reason to buy pizza dough. It's so nice to make your own. I make my own, my daughter makes her own, my niece makes her own beautiful, beautiful dough. And using your pastry cutter, cut into quarters. What you want to do is just make this into a nice round. Notice how I'm folding up the edges. You don't want a lot of air bubbles in your pizza. Flour a baking sheet lightly, cover, and let the dough rise for another 30 minutes. And I think we have a swap out for this one too. So here's our dough, nicely risen. Take one of the balls, and if it's going to take you a little time, keep this in the fridge so it doesn't overproof. You can also put them in the freezer. Oh boy, look at this. So pretty. Just a lightly floured surface. And you want to push the dough out to a circle about 12 inches in diameter. You can go around and around like this using the backs of your hands. Now put this right on a lightly floured peel. Now, a few little red onions. So 1/4 of a red onion. Some piave cheese. 2 ounces of the cheese should be enough for 1 pizza. Some thin lemon slices, 6, which will give you 6 perfect slices. And some, Fontina cheese. 2 ounces will melt perfectly under the heat that we're going to bake this, 500 degrees, and a little bit of oven broiler. Some little sprigs of rosemary. You don't want a lot of rosemary, just want a few sprigs here and there. And black pepper. I'm not adding any salt, the cheese is salty enough. And then a little drizzle of very good olive oil. Ready for the oven. Now your oven should be preheated to 500 degrees for at least 1 hour with your pizza stone on the bottom rack. if that's an electric oven, or on the floor of a gas oven. Don't overshoot the stone. I start it where I want the pizza to land, and I just gently squiggle the peel. Close the oven. So now broil until bubbles begin to form around the edges, 3 to 4 minutes. And then we are going to reduce the temperature to oven heat of 500 degrees and bake for another 6 to 8 minutes. Our time is up. Oh boy, so gorgeous. That is a gorgeous pizza. Nothing burned, beautiful crust, beautiful melted top, and it smells spectacular. And if you like, make a little dressing of lemon juice, olive oil, salt and pepper for a fresh green salad. Not too much dressing. Enjoy the most delicious lemony cheese pizza you will have ever tasted. So good.